All right, ladies and gentlemen, James Williams, the one and only Dog Waters, and I'm back, and we're picking up where we left off. And we've been picking around this document trying to see what we can find, and we've been finding things. So I want you to bear with me as I continue to dig. The last time we talked about what they call sacra terrestrial entities, angels, fallen angels, fairies, all those different things. This time we're looking at traces of underground civilizations. Just as recent centuries have seen a proliferation of legends about lost civilizations, so have flourished myths about their retreating underground and continuing to prosper. Before considering these, it is worth noting that the idea of subterranean living is not outlandish. Indeed, many historical underground cities have been found, most famously Diriku in Turkey. Jacobs 2022. I took the time to go actually find information about this city, and let's take a look at it.
Welcome to Midyat, a town in southeastern Turkey close to the border with Syria. It's a place steeped in history and has been home to the many civilizations that passed through this area over the last 3,000 years. They've all left their mark up here on the surface, but also underground. During a restoration project to Midyat's older buildings back in 2020, someone from the team discovered a doorway that leads to one of these caves. The more they dug, the more they found. These underground spaces underneath each house were known to people, and they were using it for storage because it's quite cold. But what they didn't know is that they were all connected. And what an incredible sight. I happily got lost in this network of caves, thought to be at least 1900 years old and estimated to once being inhabited by up to 70,000 people. Do you know what, a lot of this is quite weathered now, but you can see there's like clear stairs and paths into different rooms. It's thousands of years old. You know what I'm fascinated by is that this stone, solid, but look, it's soft at the same time. How does it do that? This is limestone, so its texture is like
I can tell you right now, all this music is going to be a problem for YouTube.
a soft cheese underground and hardens magnificently outside in the open air and sun. It's what a lot of houses in this old district here are made of, and something Midyat is famous for, as well as the caves themselves.
Savaşlardan dolayı yaşam gördüğünüz gibi bu alanlarda işlik.
Now, the craziest thing is, what we're establishing here is that there have been people who lived underground for a long time. So to say that there could not be an underground civilization is asinine, right? I mean, it's completely and totally asinine. To think that this was all human beings living underground is actually asinine as well. If you're talking about it's that old, then to the point to where they built houses on top of it, who actually inhabited these underground cities? Where it said it could hold 70,000 people. If I'm not mistaken, he said 70,000 people. Let me see.
It's old. You know what I'm fascinated by is that this stone, solid, but look, it's soft at the same time. How does it do that? This is limestone, so its texture is like a soft cheese underground and hardens magnificently outside in the open air and sun. It's what a lot of houses in this old district here are made of, and something Midyat is famous for, as well as the caves themselves.
Savaşlardan dolayı
Didn't know is that they were all connected. And what an incredible sight. I happily got lost in this network of caves, thought to be at least 1900 years old and estimated to once being inhabited by up to 70,000 people.
Yes, 70,000 people. So 70,000 people living underground are thought to have habitated or housed 70,000 people. All right, so we've established that underground colonies and civilizations are not a problem. I mean, point blank, period. Let's get back to the document. All right. Indeed, many historical underground cities have been found. Relatedly, recently recent decades have seen the construction of numerous underground complexes, most notably military bases, with an estimated 10,000 worldwide. For example, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is what the Stargate SG-1 is based on, a Space Force installation in Colorado, which used to host the North American Aerospace Defense Command, was built under 2,000 feet of granite on 5 acres of protective underground city. As 5 acres of protected underground city to shield the occupants from threats, including electromagnetic pulse, and even a 30 megaton nuclear explosion as close as 1.2 miles away. The affordance of such protection is a consideration when reflecting on why advanced civilizations in early epoch may have opted for subterranean existence. Moreover, while places like the Cheyenne Mountain Complex are remarkably deep, they are still relatively close to the surface, and it is possible to go further down, with the deepest point humans have so far been underground being 4,000 meters. Ashanti Mengpong gold mine in South Africa, while the furthest humans have dug is Kola super deep borehole in Russia, 7.6 miles deep. So, humans have been able to dig 7.6 miles deep underground and live. So, we're talking about humans. Going with the theory that they've laid out thus far within this document about NHIs, or non-human intelligences, I'm going to frame it as this: fallen angels corrupting all freaking flesh on this planet, including lizards, and then those snakes or serpents being intelligent and deciding to develop civilizations on the ground, plotting and planning and scheming to rule the world, coming out right now telling you that cow farts are a problem and that artificial intelligence will allow you to live forever in their matrix. It's not far-fetched to believe that this is possible. It's not far-fetched to believe that they got underground civilizations that have advanced technology that's been around for a long time, and that those civilizations want to rule what goes on or what happens on this planet. There was a video that I released where this woman was saying, she was talking about the wars we fight, the babies we eat, and she was talking about the planet as if she was something other than of this planet. I'm not sure where it is, but it's in my shorts videos. And it was absolutely insane what this lady was saying. And she said, the wars we fight, the babies we eat. She said, we know that we are allowed to affect the evolution of this planet. The wars we fight, the babies we eat, the blah, blah, blah. These were her words. But if you really listen to what she's saying and you look at her and just look at her. Matter of fact, let me find her. It's better to show you than to tell you. That is always a better thing to do. But I'm assuming there's going to be some cutting here, but that's okay.
But what I realized But what I
Boom, 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 boom.
But what I realized is we are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the babies we eat, the food we eat, the babies we eat, the food we eat, thing that we do.
Now, like I was saying, there was this woman who spoke as if she had been here for a long time. And I mean like a very, very long time. To the point to where it was kind of frightening what she was saying. But you need to hear it for yourself. And you tell me if any human would even make a mistake of saying something like this. Like the human mind doesn't think this way. It doesn't process thoughts this way because we don't think about affecting evolution. We don't think about eating babies. We don't think about any of this. But watch what she says.
But what I realized is we are the first species.
But what I realized is we are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the babies we eat, the food we eat, the babies we eat, the food we eat, thing that we do. The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight. We are the first species.
The first species to be aware of our evolution and everything that we're doing. Lizard people from underground. It's plain and simple. Keep it moving. All right. It is thought humans cannot live much deeper than the Mingpong gold mine due to heat. However, above that level, it may be possible to survive for years. In Russia, a 70-member sect lived in a bunker for nearly a decade, including 20 children, many of whom had never seen sunlight. Reuters, 2012. In such conditions, the main issue would be sunlight deprivation, which could increase susceptibility to a myriad of diseases, particularly through vitamin D, deficiency of vitamin D. Though even this can be remedied by diet, Palmer, 2012. Moreover, it should be emphasized that the internal structure of the Earth is still mostly a mystery, with discoveries constantly prompting reappraisals. For instance, it was recently found that the mantle transition zone, 255 to 410 miles underground, acts as a large reservoir of water. We should also note that vis-a-vis the CTH, the constraints mentioned here, from diet to inability to withstand heat, only apply to Homo sapiens as we are today. It is possible that over a long period of time, another humanoid species, even a branch of Homo sapiens, could have adapted to live underground. Though if so, their evolution would be markedly different from our own, resulting in numerous divergent physiological characteristics. Indeed, adjacent to the topic is a fascinating line of inquiry known as cryptozoology, the study of species whose existence is not supported by strong empirical evidence, but rather hypothesized via indirect and uncertain information. Rossi, 2016, page 573. As with the UAP topic, it has been derided as pseudoscience. However, also per the UAP studies, these scholars like Rossi argue there is no a prior reason for this denigration, and it is possible to put the paradigm on a solid scientific footing. A paper preceding the National Academy of Sciences, for instance, estimated roughly 20% of living mammal species remain undescribed, with the bulk of that predicted hidden diversity likely among rodents and bats, and we read this yesterday. This is when we got to Cliff Blake. Oh, we touched on it. Let's keep it going. Two families with strong preferences for subterranean dens, nesting sites. Among the most notorious candidate for hidden mammalian diversity is the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or largely hairy primate, purported to inhabit the forests of North America. This is where we bring up Cliff Blackman. I'm not going to read that again. Bring up Jeff Goodall, Dr. Meldrum. All right. Because this mythical creature is classified as a member of primate order of mammals and considered its bipedal form of locomotion would be a member of the hominin clade specifically, which is the most intelligent, curious, and of all primates, one would expect to see Sasquatch frequently peering into villages, rummaging through trash cans. However, such instances are rarely, even if ever, reported. That's BS. They are reported a lot. They're just denied. On the other hand, though, it is also possible that Sasquatches could have anomalously solitary form of a primate, hence their general elusiveness. Another prominent area of intrigue within the cryptozoology involves seemingly anomalous skeletal remains that are purported to subvert our understanding of the evolutionary development. This includes the speculation, for instance, suggesting that such biologics may be extraterrestrial in nature, although so far they have generally been ascertained to be more prosaic in origin, or at least their analysis has proven inconclusive. One case is the Chilean Atamac skeleton, which is one of those skulls. The 15-centimeter remains of a human fetus, which an unusual shaped skull reminiscent of depictions of aliens, which Nolan and Booty 2018 concluded were merely a human girl with many DNA mutations. DNA mutations, with many DNA mutations, not anything more exotic. First of all, if you have many DNA mutations, your ass is an alien. Point blank, period. So if I have DNA mutations that give me gills, I'm not human. If I have DNA mutations that give me claws, I'm not human. If I take a shot in the arm that gives me DNA mutations, I ain't human. Point blank, period. Another prominent example emerged as this article was being written, and which is still being studied and debated, centering on two tiny mummified bodies with elongated heads and 3 fingers on each hand and foot, allegedly found in Peru in 2017. These were dramatically and controversially presented before the Mexican Congress in a UAP hearing in September 2023 by self-proclaimed ufologist Jamie Musans, who claimed they were extraterrestrial in origin. However, while tests on these specimens are still underway, on balance, most observers seem skeptical that they are genuine, including us, for reasons which we advocated in the end note. Somewhat relatedly, there is a long history of tales and potential, even suggestive advice, of the skeletal remains and or other traces of species humanoid giants. Let's stop right there. We know without a doubt, we know that there were giants. There have been skeleton remains found. There have been photographic evidence of skeletal remains. We know all that went to the Smithsonian Museum. I'm sorry. This is where this report is, they're walking a line. They're not necessarily dismissing everything. They're just laying out. And when you read how they're, the wording of it, somewhat relatedly, there is a long history of tales and potential potentially even suggestive evidence of the skeletal remains and other traces of species of humanoid giants. Here, again, there are probably good reasons for the skepticism, though as with other aspects of this topic, we would not simply want to dismiss such ideas out of hand. So they're really walking the line. A particular relevance here are claims of intelligent cryptozoological species thriving underground across cultures are legends, for instance, of anthropomorphic reptilian races, such as the Nagans, a semi-divine species of half human, half serpent, being throughout thought to reside in Pantala, another world, venerated in Hinduism and Buddhism. Moreover, paleontologists have even speculated whether such creatures could have possibly evolved from known zoological origins, meaning known animals. Russell and Seguin, 1982, analyzed the morphological trends amongst dinosaurs towards larger brains and upright posture related to a species called Troodon, and suggested that it had survived a mass extinction event 65 million years ago. We read this the other day. I think it's more important that we come to the understanding that not only do we as humanity, we're not sure about everything, but there's actually more evidence leaning in the direction that these things are true than they aren't true. The only thing that's holding this back is the scientific community, which is holding back the information. And they're putting up this wall that threatens the credibility of people who come out. That holds it back. And then on top of that, unfortunately, people who are in the field of research hold each other back because the spirits of competition, I don't want this person to be better than me. I don't want them to be perceived as they know more than me. And so it's not hard for them to hide this information because pretty much people destroy each other who have the information. For example, Jeff Meldrum, it was earlier this year. I was talking to people and they were like, Jeff Meldrum is this and he's that. I mean, they were going crazy on the dude. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, and then you'll see people who come out with coordinated attacks against these people. And what ends up happening is you take a Meldrum, you take a Linda Godfrey, you take somebody like me, you take a name that has prominence that could bring this into the light. And it's one thing to have the attacks come at you from the government, but then when you have other creators and other people come, you just like, yo, I really represent your interests. And so if I'm representing your interests and then you're attacking me, you're attacking your own interests, and then people just say, okay, whatever, cool. I'll move on and just do what I do. And then that's how there's these divisions. Now, watch this. We know that the Bible talks about the well springs of the deep, that during the great floods, the earth gave up its water, right? There was rainwater, but it said the earth gave up its water. We also know that the reason why the earth started to give up its water was because there was genetic modification on the earth. I mean, literally, there weren't any humans left. Everybody had been genetically modified in some way, shape, or form. They've recently discovered this.
What we're doing is tapping into the final frontier. Beneath the ocean, I can boldly go where no one's gone before. I can seek out new life as well as evidence of past civilization.
Our planet is a never-ending source of wonder and intrigue, full of secrets and mysteries that continue to elude us. Despite all that we have learned about the world we live in, there are still untold secrets hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface, waiting to be uncovered. And one such secret has just been revealed by a team of geologists that have left scientists and researchers in shock. What they have found is a massive ocean, hidden deep beneath the Earth's crust, containing more water than all the oceans on the surface combined. And the more scientists study it, the more mysteries they uncover. This incredible discovery could revolutionize our understanding of the origins of water on our planet and provide crucial insights into the process that created life on Earth. So, what does this mean for the future of our planet? Notably, this find could help explain the origin of water on the surface of our habitable planet. Science team could figure out which type of rocks the waves were passing through, which is how they determined that there is ringwoodite in the transition zone 400 miles down. So far, Jacobson only has evidence that the watery rock sits beneath the US. He now wants to find out if it wraps around the entire planet. If it does, it could greatly add to our understanding of the Earth and the processes that govern life on Earth. The discovery of the massive ocean beneath the Earth's crust has rocked the scientific community. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of our planet's deep water cycle, the discovery of this massive ocean beneath the Earth's crust reminds us that there is still so much to learn about the world we inhabit.
With that being said, that calls into question everything that people like Bill Gates talk about. Oh, the climate change. You know, the sea waters in the sea are going to be rising. Think about it like this. When we saw the Tucker Carlson Joe Rogan interview, Tucker talked about the fact that there were UAPs that were going into the ocean, going under the water. The Bible talks about the well springs of the deep, where the foundations of the earth were laid. When you really read Job 38, it lays out a whole bunch of stuff if you study it, not only for spiritual warfare, but just for knowledge of this planet. You know, who shut up the doors of the proud waves and told them, go no further? You know what I'm saying? Who can call lightning forth? And it says, here I am. But nonetheless, when you look at it, you have to come to the conclusion that what they're selling is a whole bunch of BS. Like the whole, the world coming to an end. And then when you look at it, if there's an underground layer of water that's below the Earth's crust, maybe that's where these UAPs are going to and coming from. It would make sense. If they were an underground race that was amphibious, that was serpent-like, they could survive in water. They could build a whole civilization in water. They could bring their behind onto the surface, just like your president, poop on themselves and stumble downstairs and upstairs. They can do all that. They can do absolutely all of that. And so when people say,
but what I realized is we are the first.
When people say it's far-fetched to the concept of a alien race underwater is far-fetched. I mean, you have to look at them and say, no, you're the crazy one, not us. You're the crazy person, not us. And what I like about this report is this. It truly is using sources that traditionally aren't considered to justify this argument. I mean, they really are using sources that, like, for example, UFO sightings USA.com, which is highlighted here. Like these are things that were fringe until this point. Not to us, but to the mainstream, these things were fringe. And so this is lightning striking in a bottle. It really is. And people need to understand what's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we start the process of going into the references. I finally found that report on sacred terrestrial beings, and I found a couple other reports, and I want to dig into those. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more about they live, because clearly they live, ladies and gentlemen. They live.